Okay. Well, anything else you think we should cover? Or I think we're.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think we've kind of gone over most of it.
Stuff last time. We spoke a lot about a lot of cool things. I don't know if it was the last show, but I remember we had a great conversation on if consumers are going to get used to, because of what you're talking about, getting unlocked phone.
I think it was in the last show, and that's never been aired now. But yeah, it's like that.
Because yeah, if that wasn't aired, then it needs to be reiterated in that, yeah, it would be great for consumers to get off of these subsidized plans and get used to buying phones full price so that we can go to these unlocked models. And then the more competition that you were talking about earlier to drive some of the hardware prices down, consumers will get used to, yeah, I'm buying a phone, the phone costs $300. And I think we were talking about in the last show that $199 was this magic number. And I don't know.
That's the magic number the cell phone companies invented. Yeah. I'm not sure that's a magic number because I know, let's face it, most people who bought an iPad, it was an impulse buy. And an iPad's a $500 thing. I honestly don't think it's that unrealistic to get people to make a $350 to $500 impulse buy. And you can make a really nice smartphone, especially if it's a data-only link device, for $300. Because it's part of what makes these so expensive is you have these cell phone antennas in them. And if you're moving to a pure data-only 4G system, you don't need the CDMA or GSM. You need a link.
No, that's right. You're just going to be, and maybe WiMAX and LTE will finally bring us to these. Then we know at that point that phones will truly be artificially locked if they lock it, and because at that point there's less of an argument to say, well, you can't bring a CDMA phone over to GSM.
And I know that's what they're going to do because AT&T has made a phone like that is entirely data, and the minutes on it are VoIP. They're an AT&T VoIP, but they're charged like cell phone minutes, and that's how they're doing it, and it's artificially linked, and if the cell phone providers bring us this technology, it will be handicapped from day one. If they have to compete with an unlocked fourth party outside of their control, by virtue of having to compete, all of us win. No matter who we care about, we all win.
Yeah, I know. I had watched your video where you're paying homage to the Nexus One. I know it represented the unlocked phone, and I believe when we were discussing in the last show that if we can get consumers slowly but surely used to purchasing a phone at a higher price than what they're paying, yeah, you're gonna see.
Well, no, and that's the thing. Whatever company tries to do that has to have the follow through to take the 3 to 10 years it's going to take. I'm not saying they should lose money, but there's a certain initial paying the bid to establish that. Honestly, if I won a lottery, say I went and bought a lottery ticket this weekend and I won a lottery, that's exactly what I would do. I would spend that money on just trying to establish something like that, and I would operate it at profit if possible, if necessary for 3 to 5 years to operate it at cost just to establish the medium and to get as many people used to the idea as possible so someday down the road I can make a shitload of money. That's what I would do. It's the problem is that takes work because you're having to change the consumer mentality in their best interest.
Right. Well, I was going to say, because this phone doesn't have a contract. I just bought it straight out. But I can't take this HTC Evo to AT&T and get it activated.
Exactly.
Because of the baseband limitation, and non-compatibility. But let's just say that this were nothing but a data phone. There's no more voice anything. I can only imagine that limitation, if I wanted to go from Sprint to AT&T, would completely and 100% be artificially locked.
Well, no, and we already have that limitation. A lot of people don't realize it. One thing that is not sold at all in the U.S., or at least it doesn't sell well, is there's a bunch of laptop computers that are made with a CDMA 3G antenna in them. And they don't sell well because there's no way to activate a CDMA antenna with the cell phone provider that didn't sell you the thing.
Is that right?
If like, say I go to Verizon and I say, I have an unlocked CDMA 3G card here. I'd like to activate it on your network. They're like, did you buy it from us? Like, no, but it's unlocked. It's open. You just need to add it. Add access. They're like, no, you got to buy our card.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow.
So what they need to do is figure out a way for this 4G stuff, an equivalent of a SIM card, because that's one of the reasons GSM is so hard. It's not because, you know, AT&T would never have let me turn this phone on their network the way I did if I'd asked them to. But because of the way the technology works, it was simply the matter of taking the SIM card out of phone A and sticking it in phone B. That's how that technology needs to work. So all I do is go to cell phone company A, buy the little card, and stick it in my device, and there ain't a dang thing they can say about it. I just have to know the things to program in for their network.
Well, check it out. I've been with AT&T for quite a while, and being from Singapore, but I've also run into where they kill the SIM chips. They just say, throw it away, it's dead.
I've had that. Like they killed. I had a singular one, and they gave me an AT&T one because they killed the singular ones, and it's like, but yeah, as long as it's the same technology, I can continue to swap out on this phone forever. When they get off of their current technology,
to me, that's artificial. Why? The SIM card's a dang SIM card. I mean, unless it's like a different form factor, or if it was such an ancient specification that can't necessarily store the encryption or whatever, or the digital signature on it that they wish. I mean, but to me, that's also another artificial thing. We destroyed your SIM. So.
All the limitations on cell phones are artificial. You remember with the Motorola phones, they have a USB connection on there, but you have to buy this proprietary Motorola software to actually pull stuff off of it over a USB connection. It's the whole thing is artificial. It has been for years.
Apple is annoying in that with this thing too. Look at this.
I know.
That indentation. You see that indentation? It's like a little tooth mark in there. Because of this idiot thing here for the extender there. See the little tooth in there?
Oh God.
Unless you want to file it down. The traditional USB thing. It's crazy. It's like, why can't people are saying, "Oh, what's your standards?" Yes.
Yeah. Well, no. That's the thing. To me, there's a difference between trying to make an honest buck and trying to nitpick an extra $5 out of me that you spent $10 to get out of me. It's like, there comes a point where it's just raking me over the coals to rake me over the coals.
I know.
It's like you just brought up one reason I really don't like Apple. All these little proprietary $5 cables they come up with that there's no reason for them to exist other than to sell you a cable to invent a problem they created.
It's so stupid. I just don't even know where to go with that. I mean, this is like, what? I can't. A little extension device that has got a tooth mark in it. That to me is ridiculous, right? But if you're going to preach standards, you want to have standards, please also adopt hardware-set standards. USB without the teeth, and among other things. But, oh, Lord.
Here's just hoping Apple doesn't do any of that stuff with USB 3.0, since it's becoming more and more predominant now.
Yeah.
We'll see. Anyways.
So you want to call?
Say it again.
You want to call it? We've been going an hour.
Yeah, I think we're about there. That's this show, people. see y'all next week, and thank God there was sound. Praise the sound!